Hello. Welcome to Podcast with Varu. It's no more non-technically AI. You can still see non-technically AI for some technical reason. I'm not able to change that. I mean, I've kept changing it for some reason. It is not changing. And no, I've not reached the max limit of three times or something within X number of days. No, I don't understand why. But having said that, to just keep it very search friendly, I've added podcast and my name along with it. And also, I'm not just going to be talking about AI. Like if you see the cover image of it, I'm going to be talking about the journey, the success, the failure, the learning, and all of it about the person that I'm going to connect with. So having said that, today's episode is very, very, very interesting episode for me because I'm connecting with my brother who's not with me. He's in a different city, talking about supply chain, SaaS, AI, sustainability, the confluence of all of it, which in itself is fascinating because I have so much to learn and so much to share as well. So let's before we dive into the conversation, let me introduce you to Lakshmi Narasimhan. Content marketer by profession who has a background in MA economics and data analytics. He used to work with a logistic SaaS based company before. Now he's working with a proper data company, big data company. To give a gist of what you are going to watch, is that uh, it's a big thing. Yeah. So let's be honest, right? Logistics isn't exactly something we think about every day, despite we ordering in and out from Zepto, Blinkit, or Amazon and things like that. But what made it very prevalent and important is COVID. COVID really put it on map for all of us. And today we are going to talk about how AI is reshaping the space. From route optimization to cutting costs, boosting sustainability, and whatnot. So take your notepad and pen and get ready to understand the entire space of supply chain, logistics, AI, and sustainability, where you can get to learn more about how quick commerce is growing, why it's growing, why logistics is going to be like the hot uh, cake in the market. Let's dive in. So, do I address you Krishna or Lakshmi Narasimhan?
Anything is fine for me. Lakshmi is convenient. Yeah.
Lakshmi is convenient.
Yeah.
So, just to give a little history, that today I'm connecting with my brother, and he's an expert in content marketing and also in data analytics. At this point of time, he's working with a couple of different clients as a part of his endeavor. So, today we are going to be discussing something very interesting that's very, interesting and different for me, mainly because logistics, right? Like I remember how logistics kind of shot up to fame, especially even to the people that did not know that there's something called supply chain, logistics, and all of that during COVID specifically. So we are going to talk about AI and logistics today. Tell me, Lakshmi, just give a quick introduction about yourself. I know that I gave a very mess up introduction, so I would really love for you to talk about it.
Yeah. So long story short, I have been working around for four and a half years into tech supply chain part. I cannot tell it's supply chain, but logistics because yeah, I just need to give a primer. In the beginning, I'll definitely give it. So yeah, the company that I'm presently working in is a tech company that provides offerings for those businesses that wants to improve its efficiency in logistics and profitability, and also make it and also contribute to the sustainability part of it. So that's what the company I'm working in deals with. So here I was working. I have been working as a part of the content marketing team. So I used to work with the product team, the sales team, then the engineering team, if need requires. So all these and pre-sales team. So all these teams I used to meet with, engage with them, and try to ask them what the clients want, or what are the problems that the businesses and different industry verticals are facing with respect to logistics, and all those multiple other aspects I have been working. And very recently, I just for the past few months, I've started working with the logistical data. So I just have a kind of eagle eye view of okay, what's happening around in logistics, and also our CEO, the present CEO that we are working in, he usually has a kind of knowledge transfer sessions that keeps happening, or a town hall session. So there he used to tell us what's going to be the future, and the what's the exciting opportunities that await us. So yeah, I feel okay, I may not be kind of like a lifetime experience which they call a 15 20 year, but at least 20 to 50% of it at least I have. So I could do my best to justify that. And one more thing, non-technically I really like it, and it's a term that I'm very much feeling synonymous to, because that's the part of me in the present organization, because there's a product content writer, there's a technical content writer who works, but we come at a place where we have to make the products very much user friendly to the audience who never know anything about the jargons of logistics. Yeah, so I really feel this particular session is closer to me. Yeah.
That's very nice. Uh, you talked something about the sustainability bit of it, right? Like you just gave a very brief intro when you talked about how the company is associated with the sustainability part. Would you be able to like give me a quick I mean, like dive into what you mean by sustainability over here?
Yeah, yeah. But before I get into sustainability, I'll just give a 1 or 2 minute, within 1 minute or 2 minute primer on what supply chain and logistics. A lot of people misunderstand supply chain and logistics as synonymous.
Okay.
Actually, the
Yeah,
truth
me
is,
too. Me too.
yeah, the truth is the supply chain is that entire tech stack, the entire kind of right from the procurement of raw materials right until it reaches the customers. That entire journey is called supply chain, whereas logistics is a subsection of it. So logistics is like the transportation of goods into each mile. So there are 3 miles in logistics: the first mile, the mid mile, and the last mile.
Last mile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the first mile is a part where the manufacturers majorly deal with. They procure the raw materials, they produce it, and then it ends there the moment they send it to their mother warehouses.
Okay.
So until that part is the first mile. So from the mother warehouses, when it goes to the secondary warehouse, that is where this mid mile part, because the products that are being manufactured are being exchanged between multiple warehouses. So this is that mid mile part. And the last mile is from the secondary warehouses, whether it goes to the retail outlets or directly to the consumer's hands or to e-commerce dark stores or whatever. So
Got
that
it.
part is actually called last mile. So these three individually has logistical functions where the goods are being transported. So that is where the logistics part comes. The supply chain, it's like it's a very huge thing. For example, there's something called as network optimization, where you try to plan the location of warehouses optimally. So those kind of things come under that entire gambit of supply chain. So let me go into the question that you asked, sustainability. So I'm really sorry, just lost my way. Could you just again repeat the question? Yeah.
Sure, sure, sure. No worries. So basically, you told that how your company is actually helping in terms of the
Sustainability.
amping up the efficiency in terms of the overall supply chain management stack. And you also said that it's very sustainability friendly. So when you mean sustainability friendly, where does it basically like make an impact?
Okay.
Because it's a tech company. So is it because of the
Exactly.
data or something else?
Yes, I would break it down very quick, very in a simple way. It is, for example, see, we are heavily dependent on traditional fuel vehicles today. Of course, we are talking about the autonomous vehicles or the EV and all those things. But even if you see in the present location where I'm in Electronic City in Bangalore, still the Swiggy electric bikes that are being used for delivery are being tested only within the 3 kilometer kind of distances, or within 3 to 5. That's the range where they kind of either they take for kind of rapido kind of taxi sharing, ride sharing, or they are using it for that kind of 3 to 5 kilometer deliveries. But the broader part of sustainability where our company comes in is that function of two functions, that route optimization and time slot management. So what this route optimization does is it charts out the optimal routes. So maybe we
Oh,
could see that in daily life. For example, if you check Google, go to
yeah.
Google and check, okay, how far is this particular place to this particular location? Be it will give one kind of kilometers. But if you check the same thing at Ola or Uber or Rapido, whatever it is, they'll show a lesser kilometer. That's because of the optimal routes that they have designed in their algorithms.
Okay.
So that optimal routes, what it does is it factors into multiple constraints: the priority of the order, then what is the time slot that the customer needs that order to be delivered, then the vehicle capacity, then the delivery zone at the service area that it operates, the skill set of the driver, how much he knows about that particular delivery zone he's operating in. So all these things it takes into concern and gives an optimal route that could help him or her reach that particular place and deliver that order. So this kinds of cuts down the fuel consumption. Now it's like, how I could tell you is, long story short, making maximum deliveries in a minimum
Got it.
distance. Yeah, so if it is a denser area, it's very much, like making maximum deliveries in a minimal distance. And here a multiple hybrid vehicle usages are coming, so I'll anyway explain that a little bit further as we get towards it. Sustainability part is, we are trying to save as much as fuel consumption as possible. There's something called vehicle idling, where the how much time vehicles are spending on a start but not operating. It's like vehicle is started, because whenever you're waiting at traffic, your vehicle is just standing there, but the fuel gets wasted. So how much that particular time happens, so that idling, all these, so it uses a combination of
Makes
data
sense.
and multiple other things. So that's one thing. So for example, where it comes into use is, for example, you're a warehouse manager and you wanted to get a product and give it to 100 different retail outlets. If you have 10 different retail outlets where you need to serve, you don't need that much kind of an algorithm or interpretation. You can just do it manually. But when it comes to thousands of orders, hundreds of places, so there you cannot plan everything manually, and also you can't leave everything to the drivers, and it will
Yeah.
be very much difficult for them, because navigating on Indian roads or any roads, it maybe is not so
Yeah.
easy. So in that situation, an optimal route that could give him or her a detailed navigation, left, right, how he needs to go, or if there is a road blockage, what kind of alternative route that he has to take to get this done. All these things, when we do it, it cuts down the fuel consumption considerably. So that's where that sustainability part comes in, and also the time slot. Now you have seen in Swiggy even,
Yeah.
they have given eco saver. If you try to check out, they'll give an eco saver kind of time slot, where if this takes 30 minutes, the eco saver might take 50-55 minutes. So they'll try to use multiple electronic vehicles from face by face to get it done to you. So I'm trying to incentivize the customers based on that sustainability
Wow.
part. So for that, EV vehicles, what kind of routes we can do, because there is a particular limitation for
True.
EV
The
vehicle. We
speed
need
and all of that.
battery. Exactly. Speed, then there needs to be a battery reloading stations
Very
in
true.
between.
Yeah.
So that routes also need to be planned accordingly so that it reaches the customer. So all these things, we cannot do it manually, because there are so much orders and orders of multiple sizes.
Yeah.
Uh, and you need to make sure the vehicle is used to the best way possible. You cannot keep 75% of the vehicle empty and go.
True.
And there are some deliveries, for example, if you take furniture, the entire logistics changes. You can't deal it the same way you're dealing a
Got
books.
it.
When you're
It's
trying
not
to
one size
do
fit
books,
for all.
yeah, so that's the thing. And also it never stops with delivery there, because they need to come install it in at your house. For example, washing machine, refrigerator, then furniture house, they would like to install them properly. And if they don't have another piece, they have to make sure the another piece comes back on time. So a lot more complications are. So here they need to ensure it is efficient, profitable, and also sustainable, and also give a good customer
Very
experience. So
true.
all these things need to be managed.
That's
Yeah,
it.
into your
Exactly.
home, get it done, and you could tell, I'll come and collect it at this particular outlet. They'll be fine. Okay, yes, sir. Everything will be digitalized. They'll just quickly note it down. Okay, so what is the time that you'll be coming? What is the day that you'll be coming? They just note it down. You come and visit, sir. That's all. If you're rescheduling, also you can call them up and get
And
it
in
done.
fact, they have all the data of yours stored once you're a member of Lenskart, right? So they know that
Exactly.
how what my previous power was when I last checked,
Yeah.
last wore the glass, and probably after a year
Yeah.
I go and then I want to like get my glasses changed or something.
Yeah.
my power is reduced or increased, I'll still
Yeah.
be able to do. So, like you said, there's no disjointed experience here.
Yes, yes, exactly. So that is one change that's happening in every industry. It's not like it'll happen just like that. The transformation, but the acceleration towards the transformation has increased after this
Got it.
COVID. So that is what I wanted to tell.
Interesting.
Yeah, and and this quick commerce part, because I've read a recent business article from the Ken where the person has mentioned that Zomato is in a space where they've started dominating the quick commerce compared to Swiggy, Instamart.
Yeah, I think not just in quick commerce, I must say, like Zomato introduced, I don't know if it's still there, introduced a concept where I'd want to have Meghna biryani or an Empire biryani from Bangalore and I sit in Chennai. I'd have to pay probably 2-3 times more. Let's say the biryani costs 200 rupees in Bangalore, but like if I'd have to order from Chennai, it costs me close to let's say 700, which is two
Yeah,
three times more. But there is an heli drop. Right? I think there's a heli drop or something, which I will get that biryani in 3 hours or 4 hours or something, but I'll get the biryani, right? So that
yeah,
I don't know how many of them are using it. That's basically for this people who have that luxury of wanting to have something from another city that's not so far. But I think that's again another disruptor, right? Like, of course, quick,
yeah,
what do you call quick commerce? What is that?
yeah. Quick
Yeah,
commerce, quick
quick
commerce.
commerce. Just like that, this is a luxury. It's a great niche to target as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. So that quick commerce, like now there are pilot testing that's happening. For example, through Swiggy and multiple other e-commerce, food-based e-commerce are doing. For example, there is a centralized
Okay.
kitchen where the items are being prepared, and they are trying to use drones in denser cities of traffic.
Wow.
To see how far it's able to. Because I was involved in one of the projects in my in the kind of learning tech platforms where they gave this particular project where it's the pilot testing is happening in the logistics space where they could see how I can optimize what kind of investment would I need to ensure these drones are reaching the right customers. It is like it will not directly reach the customer homes because you won't have the terrace at all the homes in places like Bangalore or Chennai. So what it does is it will just give it to some kind of delivery staff in particular station. So from there, he or she will take a kind of electric vehicle that's 3 to 5 kilometers within the customer's location. So the entire thing is sustainable. So that is what they are trying to see how I can make this sustainable through every phase and then integrate it perfectly.
Got it.
So now you have this, you are speaking about, I don't know where I wanted to order it. I just want an earphone. It might be boat. I don't know who sells this boat, whether it's Saravana stores, whether it's the Chennai stores, whoever sells this boat, I don't care. I just want a boat. So that is when this Indian government took an initiative of open
ONDC.
ONDC. That
Yeah,
is
yeah,
this,
yeah.
yeah. So that came as a kind of a testing way, but still that's happening. Open network for digital commerce. So that ecosystem they are trying to build, but still it will take time. That's why we couldn't see an electric vehicle market being so successful in India. That's because we haven't built, there isn't a proper ecosystem that's built throughout a particular zone like how Lenskart had built
I
it.
think it is
Now, if you
matter
want,
of
yeah,
time, like you said, right? It's matter of
exactly,
time because if there are going to be like huge number of opportunities, that's going to happen, and they're going to save a lot of money in fuel. And
yeah,
I mean, like of course, the investment probably is higher, but like more than that, like your daily operation cost is like it's going to cut down drastically and it's going to save time. So many things actually happen. So, and of course government
yeah,
is going to help you in terms of multiple subsidies and stuff like that, like those it can happen on discount on GSTs and things like that if really government comes forward and promotes the sustainability aspect. But yeah, this is definitely like a right time for people to start adopting.
yeah. Yeah, this ecosystem, and I said, for example, when the first this UPI apps were being introduced to us after the 2016, there was only if they have phone pay I could use phone pay, or but it was not integrated. Then an integrated QR code came like that. An
Mm.
integrated kind of fuel setup, I mean, a kind of e-fuel setup needs to be generated if it is for a hydrogen kind of vehicle, a kind of charging vehicle. So that kind of ecosystem, inclusive ecosystem, needs to be built, not just a brand or a company that takes over that. will kind of dominate the logistic future, I
Got
feel.
it.
Yeah.
Cool. I think now it's high time we get into the AI bit of it because we've been talking more
Yeah, yeah,
around the
sure.
logistics. I know this is a very interesting
Yeah,
topic. So,
yeah.
we do not, many of us, we don't actually like understand the significance of AI, especially in the logistics mainly because the moment you say logistics, the first thing that they think of is a very labor heavy picture that they get, like, you know, people who are like the freight management, freight, I mean, delivery and stuff like that. So if you have to particularly point out that this is where AI is used in logistics, or if you'd want to, like you mentioned, like supply chain is a huge universe, and within that universe, where is AI functioning and how logistic is like also like associating AI with it, it will be helpful.
Sure, sure. So, on a fun and quirky note, usually in cricket, people used to say it's the batsman who get you the sponsorships, and it's the bowling and fielding that brings you the championship.
Okay.
So, this bowling and fielding is the most underappreciated unit in especially cricket, and if you see in Indian setups, as we are more close towards cricket, so that never gets that praise that it needs to get. So that's the same way that goes for logistics. We know that okay, without these food items and everything, we can't survive. But if there are no that lorry services that daily come in, day in and day out, it keeps transporting this, we will not get our products on time. So logistics is that underappreciated segment of all businesses, and now businesses have started seeing it's like there is a change. Earlier it was just seen as a cost saver, but after the COVID, when the technology is getting adopted quickly, especially the AI coming in, they are looking to see how they can multiply the revenues. For example, when I said about time slot, now for example, you wanted a kind of some products, let's say some grocery. I wanted immediately you have a quick commerce, but if you are an esteemed customer of a fashion store and you wanted it at the same day, especially within 3 to 4 hours, that particular cloth you have selected it online, and you wanted them to deliver it within 3 to 4 hours to your home. That's a little bit far away, some of the outskirts. And where this time slot comes in is if you are a premium customer like that Amazon Prime, where you are willing to pay that extra amount for that premium deliveries, they'll be ready to accommodate your deliveries. And so here is a way for them to multiply their revenues. Now, if you're an eco-friendly customer, there is a different charge. Now, if they say the returns, if you want a good, if you want to schedule the returns, there is a charge. There is a charge. You can mention that yearly kind of annual charge that you put. Your returns will be whenever you schedule your returns, you'll be ready to put. You can free to reschedule the return pickups even. So those kind of things have become a revenue farming opportunity. So AI. So first thing that I discussed about AI is the route planning part. The other thing that's a very big problem is capacitated vehicle routing problem. So I need to make sure that I need to use the maximum space of the vehicle that takes all the goods to deliver to the retail outlets or the customers. uh, Also, I need to ensure that those like those goods are properly like arranged, because if there's something called last in first out. So it's like the customer that you're delivering in the last needs to go in the last end of the trailer. So like these kind of things are there. So there you need an AI to arrange that products, and there's something called sorting. So in the sorting, what to do when you're in a warehouse, you have Karapakam, you have Torepakam. So they will try to sort it based on pin codes
Okay.
first. Then they'll try to sort it based on okay, after all this it needs to sort it based on which driver takes this vehicle. And also there is a one person in Karapakam might need that immediately in 4 to 5, at 4 to 5, that particular product. But there is someone who's at Torepakam who would need that product much before that. But you need to see, okay, can I put it in the same vehicle or a different vehicle? If it is one order, it's easy to decide manually, but you have hundreds such orders with that dilemma.
Hmm.
So you may not get to decide, okay, which vehicle is the best vehicle for handling this order cost efficiently, making sure it's profitable also. So there are so many things that come into concern. So here one thing is that there's another thing called traveling salesman
Okay.
problem. So imagine you are someone who is from a brand, maybe like a Unilever or some fashion brand, who wants to restock the products in retail outlets, in different grocery stores. For example, a Gokul Santol powder. So you're going to multiple. So you're a salesman, and you have 2 3 cities to, not 2 3 cities, maybe some 5 6 cities in the nearby regions. You have to deliver it in those retail outlets and get back to the origin city. So which is the best optimal plan or the route that I can take to travel to all the cities and get back to that in the least time, because you have to restock it every kind of in a scheduled way. Sometimes it might some shops that product would be sold very quickly, some shop it will not be sold quickly, some shops that frequency would be very less. So based on that you have to plan your journey and get it done. So that's called traveling salesman problem. It's a very mathematically complex problem that logistics is still trying to
Got it.
solve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I was exactly about to sum it up saying that how it's a win-win for all the stakeholders involved. Like you exactly said that the end customer, when they receive it, especially if it's in the last mile side of it, they basically are able to get things in time with the, when there is like less fuel consumption involved, right? Like there's less time that's going to take,
Yeah.
so they're very happy. And of course, the businesses are also able to like save a lot of fuel. So profitability again is
Exactly.
there, and of course, sustainability. The first step is to basically cut down the fuel, that you
Yeah.
consume. And really like the thing that you mentioned about the idling of the vehicle, where because I think especially in places, metro cities like Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Mumbai, and Kolkata, all these places. Of course, Bangalore is still not metro yet, but we know the traffic there, right? So this
Yeah.
this is massive. And I really like the part where I mean, like you talked about the eco saver option in the Swiggy, which gives the autonomy to the end customer that hey, you have the option now to basically be sustainable, contribute to the sustainability, contribute to the carbon footprint. So this is insanely good. So it's going to be not just combination of data, because it's going to be like an crazy, insane, unstructured data that's going to come in, and you're definitely going to use a lot of not just with a permutation combination logic, but you also need the data model where you need ML or AI to basically like structure it. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. If you check a World Economic Forum report in 2020, it actually states that the 75% of kind of transportation related emissions are majorly from the logistic part, because there's huge because you're using fuel to transport it to multiple locations, and businesses are trying multiple hybrid alternative methods for this. Actually, maybe if I tell for example, rather so they use one way is like PUDOs, pick up and drop off for lockers or locations separately, where instead of if there are 100 customers there, you don't need to go to 100 customer locations. You can just go to the PUDO, ask customer, hey, I'm dropping it out here, whenever you're convenient you can go and pick this up. So it might not be applicable to perishables. Maybe perishables they can put a time cap, so they can just tell that. That is one kind of way. There's other way that for example, they until the part where the secondary warehouses, they can use a traditional vehicle, and from there, okay, they can auto route. Okay, if it is within the 50 kilometers, the customers, the deliveries to be the products to be delivered is within 50 kilometers, okay, we'll then use a kind of electric delivery van. So like that they are trying to hybridize things. So it is going on a test kind of basis. Even the drone kind of thing was used in US when there was
Yeah.
COVID. They used to deliver
Masks.
like the medicines, yeah, masks and specific medicines to cardio patients in specific localities who are. So they had a data, some hospitals had a data of especially the public hospitals, they had a data of, okay, where are the cluster of patients who have more cardio related issues, who are staying in which kind of region are they more dense in. So they prioritize that, they send drones. They have just done it in a pilot way, but there are developments that are happening in the sustainability side. But I just wanted to give you an empathetical view of it, because just imagine you being a warehouse manager, your superior just comes and tells you, hey, see, we already have a very low margin, we want you to kind of focus on further cutting down the fuel consumption, try to save as much as
Right.
possible, but you have more returns coming in. You all have to also account for that sustainability part, because every reattempted delivery can put 4x cost for
Yeah.
you.
True. Very true. Yeah. And also
Yeah,
it
storage. Yeah.
contributes, it doesn't contribute to the carbon footprint aspect of it, like reducing
It,
carbon footprint.
yeah. Yeah, it's like, see, actually, I just read one more stat where it says this huge volume of the just US alone, the kind of returns that they got, it's higher than the market value of Walmart, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the kind of returns that we are dealing with today. And there is a huge pressure for the warehouse managers to even plan for the return part in a much efficient way. And they have to, like, some people say, okay, the best way is to send another vehicle where we can separately deal the return. But that would not
Good
be a good
solution.
solution,
Yeah.
because you're multiplying the fleets
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
and your drivers are also getting so what they do is they're just clubbing with the existing deliveries. If there is a return pickup and if there is a driver in that
Yeah,
zone,
makes sense.
you can just get him using geo-coding. You can just make him, hey, he's just nearby, just go and pick it up and get back. So those kind
And
of
that's going to be
solutions
like,
are being used.
I really want to ask you another question around since you brought up the COVID part, but just since you brought out something very interesting. So even though the geocoding and all of that is done, the biggest concern is that, like imagine that the return dates that are committed to different end users are different, right? So you'll have to like factor
Yeah,
in the date of return, location,
yeah,
so many other factors that come into picture, like the driver availability to that location.
yeah,
And
exactly.
like imagine that the return is like sort of a heavy good or something of that sort. So obviously you'll have to plan a vehicle arrangement as well in that aspect. So I don't think it's just a set formula, but there's a lot of real
Yeah,
time edge case scenarios that come in between, right?
exactly. Yes, yeah. It's quite complicated. It might look, in an outset, it might look very simple, but as we get in, it might be like it's more complex than we imagine. Yeah,
That's interesting. I mean, of course, it's complex for the warehouse manager, but definitely for data people, it's an interesting use case to solve.
yeah, because you have to minimize the calls also and also elevate the customer
Yeah,
experience.
true, true.
They need to give it delightful. So just the kind of resource constraints they
So
have.
I
Yeah,
think this is definitely going to help. I mean, like, there's no business that's going to say I'm not going to have a software that's going to help me in efficiency and cut down my cost and improve my profit range. So that's directly impacting on the bottom line of any business that are heavily invested in logistics.
yeah,
So my question is, like, since you brought out this aspect of drones during COVID and things like that, um, predominantly, I think we both also discussed during COVID, where we saw a different type of, I mean, post COVID, like we had grofers and things like that even before, like Big Basket and stuff like that, even before COVID. But it wasn't very avidly used by people. But post COVID, because of lockdowns, and we do not know how things would change, eventually people got sort of used to even taking, like, your daily FMCG goods as well, like, daily orders, like fresh
yeah,
produce, like milk and stuff as well, uh, through like day to day delivery. And it again, right now, we are in a place where you can get anything delivered in 10 minutes because of the black shop or whatever you call, right?
yeah.
So, what do you see? How is the situation or the scenario of this entire logistic changing pre COVID and post COVID?
Yeah, that's completely a very how I could tell. It's even a change that I could even imagine in films like Avatar, because that kind of transformations happened within a span of 3 years, the 2020 to 2023. And you mentioned the significance of quick commerce, but the kind of impact that it created in India, it did not create in regions like US. So India, it's a very big work. But let me tell. So the before COVID, we were all only thinking about faster deliveries. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, but after COVID, what is something that's more important but least discussed is the predictable deliveries. So predictable deliveries means, okay, if I just make an order, I know that the order will definitely reach me. If not, I can just contact the customer service and ask them to track, and anyhow, it would definitely reach me. And there is a kind of, I have a flexibility to return it, reschedule my return, or reschedule my delivery. So multiple aspects. Predictable delivery means a delightful customer experience, an on-time delivery, preferred time slot delivery and return.
Mm.
All these things clubbed together is what we call predictable delivery. See, of course, there are we know that Amazon is the king when it comes to dealing with
Very
some
true.
kind of
Yeah.
books. Very true. Yeah, and but the thing is, people, the e-commerce companies like Mintra are penetrating into the tier 2 and tier 3 cities in India. That is the heart of the consumer behavior, the consumer kind of goods that they buy, especially clothes. But Amazon, we are not getting frequent things. But if you ask me as a consumer, I used to think like, why should I go and buy it in Myntra rather when I can buy it in Amazon? Because if there's any issue, I can quickly get a call, ask them. there is always a doubt like, okay, whether Mintra will respond in a way that they respond. It's not that Amazon does not have any shortcomings. Of course, they do have, but it gives us some kind of confidence, right? So we jokingly use a term called delivery anxiety. So it's a new kind of term where you just order it, but you do not know where your order is presently. For example, if you are ordering something and it comes through postal office, you know the kind of tracking that is there, because the tracking technologies have improved to a greater extent that you know exactly which particular part of the delivery cycle is your particular order in. But it's not possible in postal
Yeah.
kind of in India's postal
Yeah.
service, right? So that thing has changed. The second thing is we were depending on centralized warehouse model before COVID, but after that we are more focusing on a decentralized warehouse
Okay.
model. So where this comes here is that why do we see Zomato taking over I mean, Zomato has over. I mean, I could tell they have almost they are standing in the edge. They have led. They are comfortably in a winning edge in terms of quick commerce compared to Swiggy, the Swiggy Instamart, because the Zomato's
Blinkit
Blinkit belongs to
acquisition.
yeah
Yeah.
belongs to Zomato. Yeah. So they are investing more into dark stores. So it's from these dark stores, the frequently repeated items, they get it immediately and they give it to us within 10 minutes. Right. Now the crazy thing is they have brought even the Xerox, the printouts. So we just give the what we wanted, the printouts will reach us in 10 minutes. So that level of sophistication they are getting into. So that decentralized warehouse model is the base for them, because a mega warehouse is always into the outskirts of the city. So you have to drive for another extra 30-40 kilometers and bring it to other smaller warehouse and then come here. Whereas if you see the decentralized warehouse, you don't need, you can be more sustainable. So that is where the decentralized warehouse model had come in. The third thing is we had a disjointed online and offline experience. So earlier, that is before COVID, we were either completely buying from online or completely going to a store and getting it. But what if the convenience in buying online and the convenience of picking up something at a shop is being merged? So that is what we call omni-channel.
Okay.
So that came in after the COVID. It started to take that pace. It was there, maybe there are some shops like Aravind store in Bangalore that did have the omni-channel options, but how far actively it had been used by consumers, we do not know. We were using omni-channel even without knowing that we are using. For example, you go to a shop, you buy some groceries, and you just tell Anna, please deliver it to my home. So you are buying at shop and delivering it to your home. So this is just opposite the purpose. The buy online, pick up in store. You just order some item, for example, a good kind of cloth that you like. You just garment. You just go order it online. And for example, a nearby Zudio shop, if you have, I'll just go and get it. I don't know if Zudio has it, but I'll just go and get it at the comfortable time that I feel, because they would already have it ready for you. So that change had come because they are trying to link the online and offline and bring it into omni-channel. It's not multi-channel. That's different. It's omni-channel. You're trying to unify both the online and offline
Experience makes
experiences.
sense, makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense. I mean, that also gives people the experience of wearing a cloth. And in fact, like we discussed before, the idea of returns and the logistical issues that,
you can save more
yeah, you
costs.
can
Yeah,
save cost because you're going to showcase what's there in the retail store online, and in case it doesn't fit, it's still going to stay in the retail itself. If not, like in fact, they're able to save time of billing, because the queue that you need to stand, so many things it saves.
exactly.
That's very
Yes.
interesting. I really like this. I mean, like you said, how no one would have imagined the kind of growth. As much as I would like to say pharma has grown humongously post COVID, I must say that even this particular industry has seen its highest or peak stage of growth post COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. See, earlier I used to see the difference, because when I used to go to a pharmaceutical to buy a medicine, the stock always used to be there because it was a disjointed experience. But as this online like pharmacy,
Yeah.
Tata 1mg, so multiple other Apollo Pharmacy, multiple other people started coming in as e-commerce players. There is a kind of fluctuation that we could feel the moment we go and ask them. They say, "No, sir, it's not available. You may order it in app." So we could see that initial in equilibrium, that is the balance getting missed, that they're not able to manage the offline and online. So that is a challenge that needs to be dealt with now after
Yeah.
COVID. Now, for example, if you have a retail shop and you're running an omni channel, you have another pressure. The thing is, you're also dealing with the pure offline, you're also dealing with the pure online, you're also dealing with both the things. So you have to make sure your staffs are being utilized fully. You have to get ad hoc staffs in terms of festive seasons. Like Walmart is really struggling. Walmart is best when it comes to the economies of scale, the price, which beneficial for customers. But when it comes to handling the number of staffs or making them happy, they are much lesser. So those kind of things are the big kind of challenges for them after COVID. Then we already spoke about sustainability. That was not much before COVID. It was not
I think
more
it was a
discussed.
very immature industry. I mean, I wouldn't say immature, but sort of growing. But I think
Yeah,
COVID kind of created some, yeah.
accelerated that.
I
Yeah,
think another thing that, since you said, I think it can be hypothetically possible, right? Like when you talked about medicine, right? Like whether it's pharmacy or Medplus or anyone, Apollo, there's one still huge pain point that they fail. I would say fail there. I think actually looking into it is um the duration that you'll have to wait. Like if I have to order from farm easy, I'll have to
exactly.
wait for a day, two, or something of that sort. Imagine that
Yeah,
I'll have to order it very it's on an urgent basis, right? So I think the best part, or the out of stock situation, right? Like for example, like take for our mom's thing where she has to
yeah,
get a specific medicine from an Ayurveda clinic, right? And like imagine that they wouldn't pick up a call. There's a huge inconvenience. I'll have to drop by from
yeah.
at least 15 kilometers from my place and go there. Only then will I know that the stock is there or not. What if I get a
No, yeah,
visibility prior? Which means, is there a way where the hospitals or the medical centers can club with all of these pharmacies, and how they
mm,
can actually like I, as a user, if you ask me that, hey, you won't find it in pharmacy, you'll find it in Apollo app, I am like so pissed. I don't care whether you're giving it
exactly.
from Apollo or pharmacy. All I need is a medicine. So this is not about grocery that you can you can just go and get it.
Yeah,
It's something very important to do with your health, right?
exactly.
So at this
Yeah,
point of time, to make this unified is, I think, there's going to be a huge disruptor that's going to come in. Like I don't
yeah,
want an app. I would rather get an SMS alert or WhatsApp. Like we're all avidly
yeah,
using WhatsApp. So if there is a way that
exactly.
the hospital, pharmacy, and the online ecosystem, all of this is like connected really well. The pharmacies are benefited. The hospital gets a commission because obviously, when they refer a
Yeah,
pharmacy, and you don't have to think about where do I actually go about it, because if I go to one particular doctor for my joint, which I'm doing for the last 6 7 months, and I'm getting medicines from there, like from it's inside, and
yeah.
it's very far from my place. Like imagine that was not there in stock, and I don't want to go there after 30 kilometers travel from
It's
here.
like you're getting cheated, after getting traveled. Yeah,
Exactly. So there's definitely like a huge gap in this particular
yeah.
industry for logistics to solve.
Yes, yes, you're right actually. Because if I want a medicine that needs to come tomorrow
Yeah.
morning, at
Yeah.
least the next day delivery, if we take it, that is there are a lot of medicines for which are specialized medicines for which this is not followed. So that is one issue that they are facing. So from there's a word from which what all you said, there needs to be an
Yeah.
ecosystem that supports this medical deliveries. For example, if they are more D2C based, direct to consumer, if they're dealing in that way, and if they're taking care of all the operations themselves rather being a part of the hospital unit, because hospital unit has multiple other tasks to take care of. So if they are a kind of taking care of this omni channel in a very efficient way, they have a team to handle it, and they have a tech team to efficiently site. And also there will be people who are not who are illiterates, but they too require medicines for their healthcare needs. So if they want to call and tell that hello, I want these kind of medicines, they must not tell, sorry sir, we are not taking the order from mobile, you have to book it on app. But the guy does not know to read and write, and he or she
Yeah.
would not be convenient with technology like we
Yeah.
are. Maybe the Gen Z is a digital native compared to the millennials like us. But the people who are much older, that is 1970s, 1960s, they may not be that much aligned to the technology. So for them also, it needs to be empathetical. So there is a point of empathy that needs to come in when this omni-channel is built. So that if I just tell that I want this order, they can immediately, if you're giving it through a WhatsApp message, they must get that digitalized, get it done. Now you see Lenskart, for example, I'm telling it as an example because it has disrupted the entire
Yeah.
space, especially Titan I Plus was tighten up. These are disjointed kind of things that were
Oh,
there. I hope
Lenskart
you
has
are
an
aware.
amazing ecosystem online, offline, and especially like, and I mean, it's like, what do we say, like a petrol bunk that you are able to, petrol pump you're able to see every 1 2 kilometers away. Like I'm in a particular area.
Exactly.
I have at least access to 3 or 4 Lenskart, one in ECR, one in OMR somewhere. Another one is Meda Wakam, which is hardly 2 3 kilometers away from each other in terms of
Hmm.
offline experience if I want to get things done. And I also have an online app or a website where I can
Hmm.
actually go in and conveniently place order and do whatever I want to.
Yeah. So from what you said in Lenskart even, you can book an appointment. They could come
I
to us.
understand with what you mentioned, like very in a very multiple examples that you shared. It's highly relying or leaning towards the efficiency bit of it, right? So
Yeah,
I
efficiency
would
of
really
it.
also like to understand how does it impact like for businesses, businesses who want to like who are in the mid level or like let's say that the a business wants to deliver to a customer, a business wants to deliver to another business wherever they are, right? Whichever mile they are part of. How does it impact them in the profitability side of it?
Okay, yeah. So let me put it. So on the profitability side, for example, they have a very tight
Right.
margin that they
Yeah.
are getting. So in that tight margin, there is also cost saving that needs to happen, and the fuel costs are increasing. You have a driver cost that need to happen, and there's a storage cost, that's storage and inventory cost that's involved. And if that item is reattempted, that is there is no there is a missed delivery, a failed delivery, or a damaged delivery, then that cost becomes again 4x. So there is a huge responsibility where plan, maybe this efficiency is that road, that pathway to that profitability.
Okay.
So that's what I said, right? This time slot part, you can in a multiple way you can try to save that cost. For example, by using omni channel. So when you buy online, return at store,
Okay.
so you can save that return cost. So in a very smarter way, businesses are trying to do that kind of incentivizing customers. Now really, if you want everything in a very quicker basis, you can become a premium customer. Every annual you can just resubscribe or to us, we will quickly do that to you. So those kind of ways they are, because those are the customers who really want, who are really demanding, okay, I at any time I need to schedule a return pickup if it's there. For example, if your mom's a, if a mom's a sugar patient or diabetes patient and she wants regular diabetic tablets or based fitness related things like that, a kind of subscription with them, a kind of premium like an Amazon Prime, and they'll be ready to bring it at any time, same day, next day, standard 3-day delivery. So those kind of things they are trying to maximize and
This
amplify their
way
revenue
they are
opportunities.
basically able to like so ideally that the whole idea of subscription is to basically have like a an investment beforehand, whether they have a margin coming
Yes.
in or not, they have some investment in their hand. So even though like let's say the margin is getting affected by all these factors that you mentioned, they are not still like burning their pockets, and they
Yeah,
also
it's not
don't
burning
have
it.
to
Yeah.
like invest separately in different loyalty programs, and immensely their customer acquisition cost decreases, and they're also like able to have a lot of uh, great retention sources for the businesses.
Yes, yes. So because see, as a warehouse manager, you will not be using only an in-house
True.
vehicle. So you will be using an outsourced vehicle, outsourced kind of vehicle, and you will be using a contracted vehicle where you get that for a contract, an hourly contract. So you must be able to, you must have some kind of an order management system with better AI qualities, where that AI would help you know, okay, which particular order needs to go into that in-house vehicle, which particular order needs to go in outsourced vehicle, such that I can save enough cost and also serve the customers in the best way possible. Now, for those customers who are into 3-day deliveries, 4-day deliveries, 5-day deliveries, okay, I'll give it to the outsource people, because that's not a perishable good, that's not a big and bulky good or a complex good that demands proper specialized handling. Those kind of things you can handle it in house. So you can prioritize things.
Makes sense.
So those kind of things. Now there is also something called cross fleet utilization, that people dealing with multiple product lines like Tata do. So what happens is they'll be using some 50 vehicles. Let's say they have Tata 1mg where they are using 50 vehicles for pharmaceutical deliveries, and there is Chroma where they're using 20 vehicles. Now if there is a day where they need 10 more vehicles, they can use it from Chroma, and they can they kind of cross fleet utilize. That's what they call cross fleet utilization. You can use it for the pickups because you need additional deliveries for return pickups. You can just get it from there and do it. So those kind of things are also happening.
Interesting.
So that is one thing. And there's something called time under the roof, that a major thing. For example, if you're a kind of driver and you're just waiting outside the warehouse and you're queued up, every time you have to wait for multiple hours, but you're scheduled that half an hour to load the products and get back to deliver it to the retail outlets or customers, and that waiting time you're not being compensated properly world over. That's the thing, that detention time you're not compensated properly. So businesses are trying to use AI to make sure they schedule that loading time. If that's a half an hour time to load those products into the trucks, right? How much time beyond that, if it's taking another half an hour, so that half an hour is the time, and 1 hour is the time, and though that half an hour is the detention time.
Got it.
Additional time that is being taken, excessive time that's being taken than the planned time. So the AI helps them to plan and schedule those things. And the one thing I said, eco-friendly, that's the load formation I said, right? So the customer to whom you're serving, delivering the last product should not go in, should go inside in the beginning, because you can't, for the first customer you're delivering the product, you are at the customer destination, you can't go inside the truck and keep searching like how we search for the hall tickets at the last moment. So because it's customer service, the moment you make the customer wait a lot, because that's customer's valuable time, so we can't waste that. So those load formation AI comes into place. Then you have something called zone based routing, where this AI comes in. For example, let's say Karapakam is a zone, and you want the vehicles, and you have, there is one particular apartment of yours, and the another apartment there is another fleet that comes and delivers. Why can't the same fleet deliver to your apartment and that nearby apartment of yours? So that is where you draw a delivery zone. That what the AI does is it clusters the delivery data and draws a delivery zone. Now you can send that one or two fleets to kind of serve the entire delivery zone rather than using 5 to 6 fleets. So that is one thing where AI, another place where AI comes into. And the other thing is, the geocoding part. So where this geocoding part is very much useful, one thing, it's in denser cities. You can exactly know which is the exact customer location where I need to deliver the product or install some particular thing there or do a professional service. Or there are places like UAE and Saudi Arabia. You don't have pin codes at UAE or Saudi Arabia or Middle East countries. So there people will have a registered post boxes, so that would be a little bit pin coded and marked, so that you have to go and reach. So that is a different kind of challenge. So that is one thing where AI comes into pick. And you have this drivers during the peak shipping season. So that's the peak shipping season, since it's like a Diwali, a Ramzan, a Raya in Middle East, then holiday season in the US. So whatever that whole season, that particular season, drivers will have huge burden. So if trying to reduce that burden, what people would do is, okay, let's try to see securing the capacity at the earliest. For example, uh, Diwali comes at November. You're a warehouse manager who's planning the shipment deliveries on September. So what you can do is you can just check who are the drivers who are available at the time. Okay, get more ad hoc drivers or contracted drivers at that time. Get these things sorted. Secure the shipping so that you can make sure those shipments are delivered at that peak time or much earlier, because there your in-house driver availability will have a fall. So at that time you have to compensate with contracted and the outsourced labors there, ad hoc labor facilities. So those kind of things you have AI to plan it. Then you have no doubt route planning.
So I
uh,
had this
yeah,
question, right? Like, yeah, I understand so many use cases are there.
yeah,
But like we have very limited time as well. So second thing
sure.
that I'd like to talk about is when you mentioned the cross fleet, right? So I think I would also like to add, like, confirm if that's true. Which is when there is a cross fleeting happening, like when you talked about Chroma and another Tata 1MG or whatever, right? So there's a high chance that Chroma is able to make some sort of a revenue sharing opportunity over there. That's like, even though they don't have a delivery, even though their product is not getting out of their warehouse or their retail store or something, they're still able to make money. There's like some sort of revenue that comes in with the cross fleet. So obviously it's going to be very helpful for them.
Yeah, because see, in the place where you're using 20 more fleets or 50 100 more fleets, you're trying to kind of confine it to 10 fleets, And because those 10 fleets, for example, the furniture deliveries will have a very larger trailers that could handle it, that could accommodate that space. So there you can use multiple other shipments of perishables. You can just adapt it quickly and use it. So that's one kind of way that they use it. And there's also the ETA calculation, the expected time of arrival. To calculate, for example, you make a product, immediately you see an ETA in Amazon. So that ETA to get calculated, you need AI.
Got it.
How long does it take from this warehouse to here, to her location, an estimated kind of thing. From there, the time slot is another one where you kind of tell that, okay, they'll tell an ETA to you. Okay, Varalakshmi, we will give you, your product will reach within this time to this time. What is the time slot you want? So you can select the time slot. So that AI comes into picture also. Yeah.
Now, we've been talking a lot about AI and its use cases, right? And I mean, as much as you talked, I personally feel that it's making everyone's life easier. Like, to be very honest, like the drivers who are the laborers who are actually like involved, who's making the logic, like, delivery possible. And there's also like a delivery team that's actually working to basically like get these goods in, for the delivery. And there's so many stakeholders that are there, the business themselves. There's a different business involved for warehousing. There's another stakeholder that's involved into this freights and the vehicles and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
everyone is getting benefited over here with AI coming in, as much as I see. But there is a huge conversation or a dialogue that's happening where AI is going to replace um, you know people. With the pace that it's going, the rapid pace it's like growing, it's going to replace people. So how do you see this entire dialogue, if you can quickly tell me about it?
Okay, so I'll cut it short. The thing is, yes, there are it's adding values in both the sides. If there is a side that says it's replacing, there is, it's like just like whether God is there or not. So I could see this question the same way, whether it's the hen that came first or the egg that came first, the rooster that came first or the egg that came first, the kind of problem. So there is one kind of report that I study. The supply chain managers, the supply chain analysts are getting more in demand, but a lot of industries in the globe are not getting a skilled one who can handle the technologies, because those professionals who are there they're not the digital natives. So when you see the digital natives slowly getting into that group of this particular AI problem might slowly get solved. But the thing is, it cannot completely replace the human, because
True.
you have multiple long haul truckings to be done. It's We still depend on the lorry drivers
Yeah.
for all the vegetable
I
needs and
don't
everything.
think even there can be like multiple AI, like, auto driven vehicles or driverless vehicles or whatever you call. That's definitely not going to like say that, Anna, please wait for a minute, I'll come down. He or she will not wait. Or, I mean, of course, they can actually
Exactly.
like keep a waiting system or something, but it doesn't know empathy. It doesn't understand
Is exactly.
anything, right? So there are so many
Yeah.
factors. I mean,
Human
you are going to
factors.
lose out on customer experience over there, like how delighted you feel, like if there is a driverless vehicle and then I'm getting something from there, it feels like, like if I want to say thanks, if I want to do something, there's nothing that's there. How would I want to go and like give a rating or a positive word of mouth out there? It's not going to.
Yeah, it's definitely not. And the thing is, the safety part also is there. Okay, if there is some kind of hacking that's happening there, and the car is just taking over speeding and things like that, we do not know.
Exactly. That is also
So
there. And imagine that, like, I order something from Amazon, right? I do not know the owner. Uh, and
yeah,
Amazon also, I do not know the people who are sitting there. There are
sitting there.
people, but they are like faceless to me. And there's like, again, when you're
Yeah.
going to deliver to me, there's no face to a person and there's no voice to a person or something that is close to a human. I don't think it's going to fly out really well.
Yeah, we are frustrated, especially when we speak with the chatbot. Especially now, the customer service people are also speaking like chatbots. We do not know
Exactly.
different. It's very tough to differentiate. So you need a human element there. That is always needed. So that will not be replaced. But what will be replaced is that monotonous tasks that are there. That technology can make it, like planning the routes. You don't need 2 to 3 hours to plan a route.
True. I
Yeah,
agree. I think you also answered my the final question, right? Like you talked about the demand is actually growing, but there is a huge gap in the skill set. I mean,
yeah,
to be very honest, we both of us will have to point out at the education system that we have, because for uh even if it's too soon to say the education system, it's like AI has been there forever, but we have started to know about it or get familiarized with it with the generative AI thanks to Chat GPT, Claude, or Gemini, or
Yeah, I
Perplexity.
mean, I just wanted to point out that people are now just like, there's a stage in Tamil cinema where people started taking all ghost stories until it just gets saturated. It will not, even if it gets saturated, people are just taking it like that. This is what generative AI is being used. Actually, this generative AI in logistics, it's more or less a kind of NLP kind of
Yeah,
thing. It's like a text processing or kind of audio. So you can't go
yeah,
beyond
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But people are just like, for outplanning and everything. Because I spoke with the data team last week and asked them, they said these kind of things are also happening now,
yeah.
where people
See,
are trying to
the
make over
only thing
advantage of it.
why it is happening is because, see, until before, it was with the tech people, right? Now that not non-tech people are also like getting to know of it, it's
Hmm.
becoming very popular. That doesn't mean that generative AI wasn't there before. It's basically like two techies
Exactly.
who gave a shape or face or the visual identity to the generative AI, and all of us are using it. But yeah, I had a
Yeah.
conversation similarly where there's a conversation on agentic AI, which is like, it's going to be very task or operations oriented, and things like that. Like you said, you have to basically like improve your skill set, and it's very important for the professionals who are going to start their career irrespective of the industry, that they are very
Yeah.
closely associated with AI. Like, if you want to give them one advice, that I know that you accidentally found out logistics as an
Yeah.
industry, and you've been, I mean, you mentioned that you're not someone who has an expertise of 14, 15 years, but trust me, at this current age of how people are moving from one job to another, people are not just changing industries, people are also changing their career. They're moving from content to marketing. Of course, everything is like under one bucket, but like, they're moving from content
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like tech to non-tech, non-tech to tech, and stuff like that, and changing
Yeah.
industries. So since you are in the industry for 4 5 years, I'm sure you've gathered lots of knowledge and seen the paradigm shift that it has seen in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So what would be your advice to the people who are going to get into this
Sure.
profession?
Sure, sure. So I'll just give it in one line. What's going to be the future of AI, and also tell this also within 2 minutes. The thing is, the future thing is what our CEO, what we were discussing is, it's like a Google. You can see the Google search where there will be a sound icon and image icon. So if there is, I want to minimize the number of clicks. Now, if I don't know how to type, it must be able to record my voice, kind of a natural Tamil, Hindi, Telugu, whoever, a warehouse manager. Just give me an optimal route for this Excel sheet that I uploaded. So it'll just give it quickly and do that. So that is going to be it's kind of minimizing as much as clicks as possible and making technology more easy through
Yeah,
voice, through
yeah.
photos. So that one thing is going to be the big future that's people are working towards, and especially that uh, the chat GPT impact is happening. So you just need to tell, hey, just give me what are the shipments that I have missed today. It'll give the list. You can
You just
automatically plan
basically
it.
need to be a good leader, need to know
Yeah,
what to ask so that the machine is actually going to do the job right.
exactly. Right. You want to know how to speak with the machines. That's all. So that's the only thing. And the most important thing, if you have to really get into logistics, any part of logistics, may be it data, be it engineering, be it product marketing, product management, pre-sales, is that problem solving. So
Mm.
that's the area that you cannot expect a chat
Yeah,
GPT to solve a particular problem, because multiple problems have been solved in
yeah.
different ways. Steve Jobs had a problem that he solved in a different way. You had Bill Gates solving problem in his
Mm.
own way. So the approach
Yeah,
varies. You can go to a top down or a bottom up approach. So multiple inorganic growth, organic, so multiple things are there. You must know. So for that, a domain knowledge is important. So we must gain the domain knowledge over the year. Try to see how that problem is being solved first. So learn that skill. There creativity also comes in, because there are problems that cannot be solved by preset formulas. You have to go out of the box. To go out of the box, you have to be immersed into that domain. So that's where the human element comes in. You must know what the pain points of your clients are. This is common to everyone, all the teams that work in the logistic tech company, all the teams. I must know what the problem my driver is facing is a work life
yeah,
balance. My warehouse manager is facing a work life balance. He or she, who's a work life manager, would think that, okay, my shift is over, I'd go. Immediately they come in. Actually, there are backlogged orders. You have to plan those shipments for tomorrow by now so that you can come back tomorrow. So what the task that has to be completed at 8 will take till 12. So technology has to aim at reducing that. So you have to be empathetic. Yes, so you have to be very empathetic. So whether you are into tech domain or a non-tech domain, you need to understand the pain point of the customer. You need to have the problem solving approach, and the other specialized skill sets will come later, whether it's in content, you're trying to write it effectively. So whatever, all those things comes only after you have a psychological understanding of the customer and how to solve that particular problem and how you can put forward, present it to the customer.
That's a very
So that's
great,
the skill.
like,
Tech is just a tool. Tech is just a tool.
yeah, that's a great, very great perspective that you shared, where you talked about, the work-life balance has to be like there for the people, and that's where the tech comes and enables it, and which I cannot, like, I completely agree with you. I couldn't agree more on that aspect of it. So that's definitely a great perspective. So thank you so much, Lakshmi, for sharing all your experiences with me, and for taking 1 hour of time to patiently answering all my questions.
We took it more than that. I'm sorry for that.
No worries,
I
no
went
worries.
too
But
far.
it was definitely an interesting conversation. I got to learn so much because, like you said, I was one among the person who thought logistic and supply chain go synonymously with each other. But right now, I understood the difference. I'm sure when I'm going to share this video out there, so many people are going to also make some difference between the two. So thank you so much.
Yeah. And creativity, problem solving will never be replaced by any technology that comes in. Mark my words.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. Definitely not. Thank you. Have a great day.